Welcome to the Confident Speaker Journey. Real conversations with business professionals learning to speak with more confidence, clarity, and authenticity. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Confident Speaker Journey, where we have real conversations with business professionals who have learned how to speak with confidence, clarity, and authenticity. This journey is not about perfection. It's about finding your voice, being seen, and speaking about yourself, your business with confidence. My guest today is Karin Littleton. Welcome, Karin.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, Karin, just to get us kicked off for today, can you please tell us a little bit about your business and what inspired you to start your business in the first place?
Yeah, so my business is called Lit Nutrition. Very simple from my name. And I came into the world of nutrition from my own experience. And I started my business because I realized that we're just not taught these things at school. And nutrition, I feel, has become quite complex out there. There's lots of information. There's lots of shows about cooking and this and that and the other. And I was just like, food doesn't have to be this hard. And, you know, yes, I've studied a degree to get this information and understand it. But that's the thing, is it's the understanding behind it. And that can be really simple as well. So, yeah, I just want to help people enjoy food again.
Nice. And it can be really complicated out there. There's so many different ways of, doing this plan, having this diet, and all sorts from keto to carnivore to veganism, vegetarian. There's so many choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can be confusing for sure.
Absolutely. And you're right. And I think you coming from the background that it's a really big business out there, right? And it's, health and wellness and, there's lots of things, supplements, and then there's the fitness side of it. And, there's so many elements and it can become quite confusing for people. And that's what I like to do, is just simplify it for people and bring it back to themselves. So take away those meal plans and menu plans and all of that sort of stuff and, bring it back to real food again. Yeah.
That's interesting, because there's been quite in the past few years, a real push to doing the meal plans and the meal preps. And so you're talking about coming away from that and doing something different.
Yeah, well, I guess, everyone is different. Some people like to prepare their food in advance. Others don't. It's a real individual thing. And that's what I do, is I work with the individual. So I work with where they're at and what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't like meal prepping. I used to do it because I comp prepped and I did a photo shoot as well. So I was 12 months in prepping that. And as you would know, in that industry, when you're prepping for a bodybuilding competition, it's very specific what you're eating. And you're eating pretty much the same thing for 6 months. And it's just changing little things here and there and adding things. And, I was meal prepping on a Sunday for my whole week. And my whole Sunday revolved around prepping my food and cleaning my clothes for the week. So, I don't like to do that anymore. Other people might like to do it. So I like to sort of cook for that night, and then I'll have leftovers for a day or two, depending on the meal. So that's what I like to do now. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. I did see that in your, I read it might have been LinkedIn or may have been your Facebook page that you had competed, and that is super strict, like you say, six months of eating the same sort of food. And yes, I have been around people who compete in the gym industry, and my son also competed. When did you realize that it was important to speak up and speak publicly about yourself and your service?
When did I realize? I think even at university, we're doing a lot of presentations and things like that. And I think depending on where you go as a nutritionist, there's obviously so many different avenues. But for myself, building a private practice, I need to be able to articulate to people, what do I do? How do I help people? And I need to be able to speak up. So, but like you said, I'm not always perfect. I'm not always polished, but that's me. So if you want a polished person, then that's not going to be the right fit. And that's why we also have to speak up, so that people can get to know us as a person and then decide whether or not we're that person that they want to work with. So I don't have products as such. I just have my services, my offerings that I have for my clients at the moment. I do have a couple of things on my website, some videos, some old videos that I've recorded. But yeah, mostly my offerings, which I've been pretty quiet about at the moment, but I'm just about to relaunch those.
Nice. It's in the pipeline. And so was there a time, can you go back to a time where you weren't confident? So you were doing a lot of presentations at uni for your degree. Was there a time whilst you were doing that, or time before that, where you were not so confident or afraid of public speaking?
I think even like any time before university, I think I was probably didn't do that many presentations. I would always, for a long time in my career, which was banking and finance, I was in team leader roles and things like that. So I was always talking in front of small groups, I guess, not necessarily larger groups. And I did always sort of feel like, oh my gosh, like, and school as well, which was quite a long time ago. But that fear of like, oh my God, this is not going to be right, or this, whatever that was, definitely was not great. And then I did have a turning point, probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago. I'm not really sure. I just remember I was in a program here on the sunny coast with some ladies, and they were talking about public speaking. And one of the ladies said, I used to be terrible at it. And then someone said to me, when you're doing a presentation or having, whatever it is in front of a group, you're there to help them. And, there's always going to be someone in that group that with what you're saying is going to help them. Doesn't matter what you're talking about, because the people that come to whatever it is that you're talking about are there to learn about that topic. So, unless that person is way above you and for whatever reason they're coming to this event, they're going to learn something and you're going to help them. And so that mindset change for me was quite inspiring. And I did recently have a situation where that actually happened. And I was presenting to a group of residents at a over 50s communities they have now. And there was a lady who was a nutritionist dietitian, retired, but she was like, oh my God, that was so good. It was really helpful information, and, not necessarily for her, but it made her think. And she was like, oh yeah, I've got to, go back and have a look at that, or whatever it was. And, it's like, okay, even someone who is as accomplished, if not more, actually learned something or reminded something. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that changed my mind and my mindset around public speaking. I still get nervous. We all do. And, they say even the best of them get nervous. And that's, just saying that you care. And that's where I go, okay, well, I'm nervous. I care. But what I'm going to say is it's good. It's going to help people.
Yeah, that's a great thing. You're being a service, aren't you? That's something that I found was a turning point for me. Was I stopped taking it all so personal.
Yes.
And I can't remember if it was a person or if it was information, but then I started looking out and how I could be of service for the people in the audience. And like you say, it's a beautiful thing when somebody can come back to you and give you feedback who you consider to be more accomplished and say to you, well, I learned something there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but as you're relaying that story, I kind of picked up that she was excited and curious about what she had picked up from her, and it gave her some energy to go research and look into it further. Would that be correct?
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Yeah, she was, I don't remember what it was now, but yeah, she was very excited and was, yes, yes, I'm going to go back and look at that and, pull up my details or whatever it was.
And this is something that I try to pass on with the people I work with, is that like you said, there will always be someone who's in the audience that is taking note of what you are saying, because they have come along to that event under the umbrella of the subject that you're speaking about for a reason, even if it's an employer or an organization that's enticing them or inviting them to come along. They are going to be picking up something. And if you can give some value, that's a really great feeling. And so as you're going along your journey, your public speaking journey, was there ever a time where you thought, okay, I've nailed that. I'd like to improve on maybe something within how you present, how you deliver? Was there anything that you felt that you could work on?
I think learning how to speak and present and put together information that's going to provide value. I think you can always learn more about that. I did earlier, I think it was earlier this year. Time goes so quickly. It's hard to remember when we do things, isn't it? But I believe it was earlier this year. I did a one-day speaking tutorial with a friend of mine. She was putting that on. It was her first one. And yeah, it was really good to sort of learn a framework around how to put together, whether it's a 8-minute, a 10-minute, a 20-minute, a hour, however long that is, to be able to provide value to people, but, and make it interesting. And yeah, I keep that format in my mind when I'm writing a lot of things. It doesn't even mean if I'm speaking it. Sometimes when I'm writing things, I'm like, oh, yes, let's use this format. I think that would be really good, for it. And I would, I'd love to do some more learning. So that will definitely be on the cards in the future.
So structure?
Yeah.
The framework is a structure.
Yeah, the framework, but also, and this was really one of the simple things that she talked about was your stance. You don't have to move around. You can stand there with your hands beside your body and no one's even going to notice. You notice how weird it feels, but no one else is going to notice. And so that was really interesting as well.
Yeah, that reminds me of some teachings that I recently heard. And yes, that's one way to move around, but the other way, like what you're talking about, just being still, helps you to be more grounded, helps you to connect into your authenticity too, because if your feet are grounded and you tune into not just what your head's saying, but into your body and into your heart, you will actually deliver more authentically.
Yes.
Which I have been practicing with.
But you have to practice. It's something you have to practice because when you do stand there and, if you've got your camera set up and you're talking to your camera and standing there with your hands beside your body, just relax, like not obviously grabbing your side or something, just relax beside you. It is a weird feeling because we don't tend to do that. And as someone who talks with their hands quite a lot, it is really different.
I know, because that's what I'm thinking. I'm the same. I talk with my hands a lot. And so I've been doing my best to keep my hands still.
I'm obviously not perfect about it, and I do pick myself up sometimes. But yeah, it's good things to think about.
Definitely. And so when you think back to through your journey, what would have been the biggest challenge that you came up against while speaking and being seen and heard? Have you got any memories of what the biggest challenge would have been for you?
Yeah, look, it was a small group that I was presenting. It's probably one of the first ones I did actually, probably a couple of years ago. And I had this one lady who just kept not bagging myself. She wasn't bagging me, but she was bagging, because I talk about food, right? She was bagging Australian food and, talking about how great food was in Greece. And, I struggled to rein her in, I guess, not quite a heckler, but that type of thing, right? You've got someone in the crowd that's asking questions or that's sort of interrupting the process. And being able to overcome something like that that was one of the things I noticed then was that it's like, okay. And yeah, it's taking that away and working out how to deal with that at the next opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great that you did that. You reflected, okay, if this is going to happen again, how would I work with a person like this? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is something that I cover in my course too, is being prepared how to answer that sort of to that sort of person without being defensive. And also without creating conflict with that person. Because when we're put on the spot and we're not ready, that can be a response or a reaction that we can go into. And in the way back in the past, I have done that. It was just I got triggered, and so I reacted in a not so good way. And so then I started looking, okay, how can I be prepared for something like this in the future? Where someone obviously thinks that there's something important that they want to talk about, they want to express, they want to have answers to, enough to stand up in front of everybody, because that takes a lot for some people. But then you can get people who want to have all the attention and get, like you say, get triggered by some of the content that you might have. And how do you work with people like this? And it's really important, I feel, to acknowledge that what they are asking has a place, but sometimes it's okay to say to them, that's a bigger answer. That's not what we're covering today, but I'd love to connect with you and help with some clarity around that. And so I think it's really important to just have some options to go to, because when you're in the spotlight and that's happening, it can be so awkward and uncomfortable, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, sometimes they just want to be seen and heard, and they want to be acknowledged. And then I think sometimes, it's just their way of thinking and the way that they interact. So yeah, it can be a little bit, like you said, difficult on the spot to be working out those people. Yeah. So having a few outs, as you say, to be able to, And I think a good one with a lot of people like that is, that we need to move on, and that we can discuss that personally afterwards if you want to bring it back up, that's or look, that's going to take me a little bit longer to answer. Let's come back to that at the end when we have time.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And staying authentic to yourself, but in a way that person's going to be able to hear it.
Yes.
And also the consideration of the rest of the audience.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
And some people don't always pick up social cues.
Yes.
And environmental cues. And so you've got to be able to lead. Right.
Yes,
And bring it
correct.
around, like you say, suggest at the end if that's possible.
Mm.
Yeah, cool. I think this is a good one to bring up because it's good to know, especially with this sort of situation and how you're going to react or respond before you go through it.
Well, I think, as we said at the beginning, there's so many different ways of eating and there's so much food information out there that people do have really strong views around food, and that's okay. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion and view. It's being open to other people and how they see things. And one of the things that I talk about with my clients is I'm going to meet you where you're at, and everyone's at a different place. And quite regularly, people comment in Facebook groups about me because people will ask, "Oh, I'm looking for someone that's not going down that keto." They want someone who will just look at them and work out what they want to do. And, that's what I like to do. So if someone's vegan, that's okay. If they're vegetarian, that's okay. If they're keto, actually, I probably wouldn't help someone that was keto because I don't do the keto diet. But, pretty much everything else I can work around. So, yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next question, which is what's been the most rewarding part of your speaking journey so far?
The most rewarding. That's a great question.
Yeah, take your time.
I've I've actually got a speaking gig coming up that I'm quite excited about.
Oh,
Yeah, I was going to say, otherwise, I did do a speaking event last year at an event that's held on the coast here every year, and it's for empowered women. And it was a 10-minute talk I talked about a potato.
yeah.
And because the basis of the story is around food, stress, and the stories we tell ourselves. And the
Mm.
potato story is about a client of mine who hadn't eaten potato in years, and how we discussed that and overcame why she wasn't eating potato for years. And it was a story that she'd told herself from family, from friends, from what she'd seen on the internet, from, the gym bros. It's, sweet potatoes the best option, and, all this sort of stuff. So by taking that story away from her, it removed a lot of stress. So I really like telling that story. But the one that's coming up is I've got 10 workshops for the library here on the sunny coast. So I'm working, 7 workshops. So within 10 days. And it's the same workshop, but I'm really excited to be able to bring that to people that I wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And how did you come about that speaking gig?
So the Sunshine Coast Library, you can apply to become a
Ah,
speaker for them. Yeah, and
great.
it's as I said, it's 7 events over 10 days, and the way it's pitched, if you get accepted with your pitch, the pitch to you then is that it needs to be like they have a glue gun in their hand, because it needs to be interactive, it needs to be interesting, and they need to walk away with something. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So,
Wow, I hope that all goes really well for you.
me too.
And so will you use your structure that you spoke of in that, or will you use something
This one's got
different?
to be a little bit different.
Mm.
This becomes a little bit more of, so that structure was, and you probably know it, the why, the what,
Mm-hmm.
the how, and the what if.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's the structure.
nice and easy, yeah.
This is a little bit more the what and the how, not really the why or the, because it's an interactive, it's let's get
Mm-hmm.
in, let's learn something, and let's do something. So there's
Yeah,
not so
okay.
much of the why. I think I've got a little bit in there, but it's more about the what and the how, so that they
Mm-hmm.
can learn a little bit about. And I've done the workshop is eating for energy the Mediterranean way, and the
Yes.
idea is it's just around because everyone loves Mediterranean, so it's that Mediterranean. Let's go, but from my point of view, it's just adding in that talking about our vegetables, talking about our carbohydrates, talking about those types of things that are really important. And as we know from the data, we don't eat enough of those things as a whole
Yeah.
population. So it's,
Mm,
it's just, bringing it into that. Yeah.
cool. And what other techniques will you be using in that? So it's interactive.
So they say not to be too heavy on the slides, but to make it interactive and to make it, I do have presentation slides, but some of those slides are also questions. So I have a it's called Slido, so they can slide it into your presentation, but it's questions. The first question's around telling me how they feel today. So are they tired? Are they sleepy? Are they, raring to go? Whatever. And that's going to become the word clouds. And then I have some questions. I have a quiz later on. They have a sheet in the handouts where they'll get to circle foods that are Mediterranean style, and then at the end they'll do a day plan of what they'll be eating. Yeah.
All in 10 minutes.
No, this one's an hour and a half. Sorry. This
Oh,
one's an hour
yeah.
and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, this is an hour and a half that I have to
Well, that's
fill.
excellent. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, and I hope it goes really well. So interactive, yeah, inclusive and structure, all good strategies and techniques you've got in there to make it really interactive and practical. And like you say, something to take away with them. And what I picked up that I want to sort of highlight is what you're doing there, and what I've done before is you're working with the organisation, or in this case, the library, to give an outcome that they feel would be beneficial for their patrons, their clients, and working in an interactive way with you first to deliver that.
And they know their members. They know that that's what they like to see. So, it was booked out within the first 2 weeks. It's great. But yeah, it's getting me
Yeah.
out to an audience that I wouldn't have seen really otherwise.
And that's good for our listeners too, to suggest things like networking meetings, business chambers, Rotary, Lions clubs, all those sorts of small meetings where people can start. And,
Yes.
but that's not one that I've considered is local libraries.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most libraries would do some sort of workshops. The idea is that you're providing information. You're giving them a tool, strategies. So if you've got a book, depending on the book, they're happy for you to do those types of things. But it's not a sales event. It's really a workshop. It's providing that information, doing something with them, giving them things that they can take away and do for themselves.
Yeah, I hear you. That's something that I've taken on board when I speak. It's not about trying to sell something to someone. There could likely be somebody, which has happened straight away, come up and said to me, I want to work with you. Doesn't happen always. But you're going back to that service, aren't you? You're giving value, being of service, you're passing on information that's going to be helpful.
Yes.
All right. So my next question to you is, what changes have you noticed in yourself since you've been on this journey, this public speaking journey, and your speaking ability? What have you noticed in yourself and how you've improved in any way?
I think, like you said, when you stand on your 2 feet and you stand there and you're grounded, you're grounded, right? So you relax, you're more in your body. I found that has been very, very helpful. And I think the main thing people do sometimes forget is that pausing's okay. And you don't have to run every sentence into each other and talk really, really, really fast. You can just stop, think about what you're saying. And we always talk faster when we're in front of a group, I believe. Like, I just think I don't know what it is. It's a thing, is it? Just like, oh, people. Blah, 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 blah. So being able to ground and talk a little bit more slowly and realize that the time's not going to go away as quick as you think. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I hear you. Oh, there goes my earplug again. I want to stop it here because the sun's coming in again. So I might just edit this part out. I'm just going to move it because it's getting really bright and it might affect the recording. Can you see the light on my banner behind me?
I can see it on the banner. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's going to be fine. I won't be able to cover the banner and my seat. So I'll just leave it. Yeah, that's okay. That's good. So I just asked how speaking has impacted yourself. Now I'm going to ask you, how has speaking impacted your business or your life?
With my
So that
business,
was yourself personally.
Yeah.
Hang on,
Yeah.
I'll just get this right, and then I'll ask the question. All right.
Okay.
Get my ears in. I must have a different size ear hole in my left ear. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, my next question is, how would you say that speaking with more confidence has impacted either your business or your life as you've gone through this journey?
With my business, I'm able to, not all the time, but most of the time I'm able to clearly articulate what it is I do and how I help people. And that's a learning, and it takes time, it takes repetition, and it helps with your confidence when you know the people that you help, how you help them. And it just makes it easier when you know those things. So it is important to have that information. It means you can also change things up a little bit too, depending, as you said, with networking, depending on the group that you're at, you may need to sort of change around what you're talking about. And yeah, that's how I feel from a business point of view. From a personal point of view, I think it makes me feel it doesn't really matter what it is. If I have to talk to people in a group, then with some preparation, that it's not going to be something that I dread. I can go, okay, no, I can do that. I just need to prepare for it. I just need to, find it out what it is that I need to be talking about. Yeah. Even when a little bit like this, this is a little bit different. This is not talking about food. This is talking about talking. So just having a little bit of
about
preparation.
food.
Yeah, talking about talking.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you brought up then is really important. I did a bit of a deep dive before I started speaking publicly about what it is that I do by what it's called is creating your unique mechanism, so that when you do speak about your business, your products, your services, then you know exactly what you're talking about. So having that method, that methodology, that framework within your business for me, there's only four things I talk about.
Mm,
And that is the four pillars of my business,
mm,
of my program. And that helps me to stay in my lane, in my lane about what it is that I do, so that I'm not confusing. My messages aren't confusing
mm,
to my audience. And I think that's a
yeah.
powerful thing to do. I've been through that with two coaches, and the second coach was great. It really helped me. And like you said, it's repetition. It's something that you do a bit of a deep dive into who your clients are, what they struggle with on their worst day, how life is on their best day, so that you can speak to your client and you have a method to help them understand what it is that you do that can be assistance for them to get through the transformation that they are desiring, out of that worst day into the better day, into that, the way of integrating that lifestyle that they want, or that professional style that they want, for me, in public speaking. So I think it's really valuable to understand that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. So that was a really good thing to highlight there. So thank you. All right. So we're wrapping up. What would you say to someone who is nervous, like really nervous, starting out, either going to uni or starting out in their business, and they know that they have to get up in front of, face to face in the workplace, maybe networking meetings, or even going online and doing reels or live video as part of their job. It's something that they've been asked to do, but they don't necessarily feel confident. They're actually really quite fearful. What would you suggest they could do to help support themselves on that journey?
Yeah, so I guess there's lots of little hints and tips, the grounding is a really great one. The breath is another one, just to, do the 4 breaths, just to, feel comfortable.
Mm.
But I think I said it before, it's the practice, it's the repetition. Have notes. You know, we go and watch these people on these big stages, or look at these people on big stages, or watch. They're reading. Yes, they know their stuff, but they've got the notes there somewhere. We just cannot see that. I don't know. I mean, there might be some people out there that can get on stage and talk for an hour and a half and not have a single note, but they do, right? And they also started somewhere as well. I'm sure when they first started, they
Exactly.
and I think you listen to most of the big speakers out there, they're still nervous when they get out up on stage in front of thousands of people. So it's not about not being nervous. It's about controlling the nerves. And if you're talking about something you're passionate about, you love, then that's going to be way easier than talking about something that you're not 100% passionate about. But if it is something you have to do for your work, then just practice it. Have the notes, have it there, because no one would be, like I said, not very many people can get up and just talk about something really easily without thinking about it and taking time to think about it.
Yeah, preparation's really
Yeah.
important. And yeah, I heard that Anthony
Mm,
Robbins, still has notes that are on the
yeah.
floor,
Yep.
in front of him.
Yes.
And that's just to help him keep and in the
Correct.
structure, and not get too
Yeah.
off track, and
Yeah.
stay on time. And I'm the same with my coaching here as you are, and that is, I meet people where they are. So if they need notes, start out with notes, and gradually, as you progress, then slides are really great to help you stay on track. Yeah. And you can have your notes there as well. I did a speech last year, which was for the Cancer Council, and it was really emotional speech for me at the time, because both my sister and my grandson were going through chemotherapy treatment.
Mm.
And I had notes. I definitely had notes, and I didn't hide that I had notes, because I knew I was going to get triggered emotionally. And so I had those notes there to keep me on track. And it worked.
Absolutely.
It worked.
Yeah. And especially in those instances, actually, as soon as you said that, I thought, how many people expect someone doing a eulogy to not read it, right? So why is it that in any other situation we can't have notes? We can't have our, like you said, presentations. And that's where I learned with uni was presentations, because even though the words I'm saying are not on the screen, I know what that screen's all about. So I'm going to be able to talk about it. And then, like you said, with Anthony Robbins, is he still has notes, because you can easily go off on a tangent if you don't. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
So, yeah. Yep. So it's about just being where you're at and supporting yourself along the way. Great. Who would you say is your most favorite speaker that you've listened to? Is there one that you've, been impressed by just one speech, or is there a person that you've watched a number of times? And it could be on TV, it can be social media, it can be movies. Who impresses you the most when it comes to speaking?
When it comes to speaking, that's a really good question. I don't really watch a lot of people. I do like Brene Brown. She
Me
is
too.
very interesting.
Yeah.
But someone I like listening to and hearing their voice. So sometimes it doesn't matter, what they're saying, is Gabrielle Bernstein. Yes, you know who she is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't know who she is. She I don't even what does she class herself as? I'm not even sure. But she does the manifesting, she does abundance, she has a lot of podcasts, she has a lot of, but her calmness in her voice, her she's quite grounded as well, I would say. And, you can still hear emotion in it. It's not like there's no tone or anything like that. But yeah, I love listening. If I'm anxious, she's someone I like listening to.
Yeah.
She's got
I
one
know
of
what
those.
you're saying.
Yeah, one of those voices. Yeah.
Yeah. There's people I love to listen to as well, because there's a calming effect that comes across their voice. Interesting, because you can hear the sound of their voice. They're in tones that are calming. Recently I went to see the Michael Jackson movie with my girlfriend, and the person at the cinema that was showing us to our seats as soon as I heard his voice, I turned to him after he had finished speaking. I said, "You've got a great radio voice."
Yes.
And that's not the first time I've done that. Yeah. Certain people do have a great sound to their voice.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. But Brene Brown's
and it has a relaxing effect on us. Yeah, she is. I love watching her. I've watched most of her speeches. Yeah. They're so informative, and the life chat. She's done a lot of research, and she always brings some story about family and, her workplace, or speeches that she's done. And I just find them really interesting.
Correct.
Okay. Last question.
Okay.
We've got a little bit of a delay, but that's okay. Last question. If you were to connect with an animal totem that symbolizes your speaker journey, what would be the first animal that pops into your mind?
Well, I have two animals that always pop into my mind. They're very different. Is the tiger and the giraffe. Those are my totem animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how
Does
they
it feel like
relate to
either of
speaker.
those stand out for your Yeah. So when you think of your tiger, that was the first one that popped out. What does a tiger represent to you?
Uh, it, what just came to mind there as well is like almost like laying in the background, but not, they're just ready to pounce. Maybe I'm just ready to pounce on my
Yeah.
speaker journey. Maybe that's what it is.
Wow, that's about to happen for you in a different way, isn't it? And often,
True.
I don't know about you, but when I've changed my audience and my location, there's a whole different feel about it because it's a first.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
And
Tiger.
there's some excitement to it. I can tell you're excited about it, and yeah, some curiosity.
Mm.
Cats are known to be very curious.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
Well, that wraps our chat up for today. I'm so grateful that you spent the time to come and join me today and share your speaker journey. Thank you so much, Karin.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, good. My pleasure. And so everybody who's listening, in the description will be some details of Karin's business, how you can get in contact with Karin if you'd like to have a chat with her. I'm sure she'll be able to put a booking link in there as well so that you can, if you feel that Karin is a person that you'd like to take this conversation further with, that you can go ahead and do that. So thank you so much, Karin. Thank you to the listeners that have sat through this conversation. I hope you've picked up some great hints and tips for your journey as you continue on the confident speaker journey. Bye for now, everybody. Recording.